Hello and welcome to the eNoah Thought Stream event. Things have changed. Thank you for devoting a small part of your day with us. I'm your host, Glenn Julia, Sales Director, Strategic Alliances for North America. As things have changed, inevitable changes are imminent. In business, we should all be asking the same question. Will I be prepared for what's next? For those old enough to remember, sitting and watching the Jetsons on Saturday morning was no more than a cartoon playing on one of only 4, maybe 5 stations on our parents' rabbit-eared antenna TV. Well, it appears the Jetsons had our future figured out early in the 1960s. Talk about foresight. Today, manufacturers globally face a changing and uncertain world. Not quite flying cars like the Jetsons, but electronic autonomous vehicles that drive themselves. If you manufacture anything from mirrors to motors, how are you dealing today with digitization and the speed upon which technology is changing around you? I don't think one person on this call was prepared for COVID-19 or had it in their 2020 business plans. Globalization and the global economy affect all of us. Will you be prepared for what's next as things continue to change? Over the past 15 years, eNoah has changed, and we've served the global market as a provider of cloud-based enterprise resource planning software and services for manufacturers, utilizing consultative strategies beyond ERP. With over a decade of experience with QAD, we are providing round-the-clock support for business-critical systems and helping clients pilot business and IT processes with a focus on metric-driven outcomes. From ERP software to professional services, we help our clients increase productivity, save time, and positively affect their bottom line. I would now like to introduce Anton Chilton, CEO, and Carter Lloyd's Chief Marketing Officer from QAD, our strategic channel partner, to further discuss not only change, but how we as a global partnering organization are combating the inevitable and take you beyond ERP.
Hello, my name's Anton Chilton, CEO of QAD. How often do once every 100-year events happen? Once every 100 years, obviously. The problem is, though, that there are hundreds of once every 100-year events. Being ready and prepared to face those events, adapt to the uncertain, the unknown, and the unforeseen are critical to your success and your survival. And that's what today's ThoughtStream event is all about. Welcome to tomorrow. So let's just think for a minute about what are the many sources of disruption, and there are many. And yes, most of them are fueled and catalyzed by technology and advances in technology, but the sources of those disruptions are still many and varied. Think about markets, changes in markets, and automotive is probably a great one to think about in terms of the introduction of electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles and ride sharing. The effect that that's having on the automotive market is huge, whether you're an OEM, a supplier, or even a consumer. The amount of disruption that's going on is incredible to see. Then you think about changes that come around through customer expectations and customer demand. Demand for better and new products, better and new services, new way of doing things. Instead of buying products, buying things as a service. Anything as a service is a trend that we see growing over the recent years and expect to see that accelerating into the future. You think about supply chain disruption. And again, this current pandemic has really served to highlight the fragility that's in supply chains and networks today. Being ready to adapt to unforeseen changes, whether that's natural disasters, a pandemic, or tariff-imposed issues. Companies today have to be ready to be agile with a supply network and be able to source what they need to make the products that they make for their customers and change those sources of supply in near real time. Think about the 4 walls inside your operation, your manufacturing operations. And you've heard terms like Industry 4.0, smart manufacturing, and digital transformation. These are all terms that are really being applied to how can we leverage technologies and advances in technologies to make what it is we do inside our manufacturing operations increasingly efficient and increasingly effective. Everybody's desire to do right by the planet, do the green thing, use less energy to produce more, use renewable energy, use renewable sources of materials inside your products for us and for our future. Think about regulations and compliance. More and more governments around the world are demanding more regulation, putting more regulation in place, and demanding compliance to that regulation. Think about electronic invoicing, serialized invoice numbers, tax reporting online. All of these things are being adopted wholesale by governments around the world. And again, that trend is only going to continue. And then finally, think about data. Think about how valuable it would be to you as an organization if you could get access in real time to all of the data that's extant within your organization and really look at that and make intelligent and informed decisions based on great interpretation of what that data is actually telling you using technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning. The sources of disruption today are many and varied, but one thing we know is true for the future, that those sources of disruption are just going to increase, and the frequency of disruption and your need to deal with that is going to increase exponentially too. Are you ready for it? So when we think about dealing with change and uncertainty, dealing with the unforeseen, there's a great quote from Leon C. Megginson, who was a professor of management sciences at Louisiana. And he said, "It's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It's the one that is most adaptable to change." Adapting to change is absolutely critical. So at QAD, we've been asking ourselves this question, like I'm sure many of you have. Will your company exist in 10 years? Being ready and prepared to adapt is critical to your survival and your future success.
It's clear in a world of disruption, and maybe that's always been the case. One thing is clear though, is it's intensifying. The rate of change is changing faster and faster all the time. And I think one of the reasons behind this is driven by the speed with which information is shared. I recently saw a McKinsey report that was talking about cross-border communications. That's information that's shared and moving between cross-borders. It stated that it's increased 148 times from 2005 to 2017. That's a volume of 700 terabytes of data moving cross-borders every second. And really over the next 5 years, it's expected to increase 9-fold. The same report also cited that digital leaders are seeing faster and faster revenue growth and also increased productivity compared to their peers. They've also increased profit margins 3 times more rapidly than their peers, and usually they are the fastest to innovate and also the disruptors in their sector. So one thing that's clear is that to thrive and survive in this disruptive world is all about adaptability. But what does adaptability really mean? To me, adaptability is all about responding to change and responding to change rapidly. As Anton said earlier, it's about being the fast fish. How can we be the fast fish? But to understand change, we understand what drives it. What are the components of change? And really, this is a story of 2 parts. The first part is foreseen change. What is foreseen change? It's something that you can predict. It's something you can forecast. It's like looking down a telescope at a future destination. You can see it, you can reach it, there may be uncertainties there, but the destination is within sight. Examples of this would be the Internet of Things. We can see the Internet of Things and connected devices. It's coming down the road. What does that mean to us? We can have that foresight. The second part of this story is all about unforeseen change. Unforeseen change are those things that happen to you on some random Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Something you weren't expected, like COVID-19. or the Fukushima earthquake that happened in 2011 off the coast of Japan that caused a tsunami and devastated a number of automotive manufacturer suppliers. The challenge with these sorts of changes, you can't foresee them. You know they're going to happen. They're like those 100-year events that Anton referenced earlier. So let's go back to foreseen change. If we want to look to the future, it's all about understanding what are the sources of disruption. And you heard from Anton earlier many examples of disruption that's happening in our industry. And with that disruption, it drives competition. And often that competition drives change, and that change is typically fueled by technology. Technology, to me, is one of the biggest disruptors in our industry. But technology is not there just for the sake of using it. It's there for solving real-world problems, and that is our focus. And to understand how we solve those problems, we've developed a process where we work with our customers to research disruptions that's happening in their industry and the market problems that they pose. We look to work together to educate each other on opportunities and new ideas and new innovations. And then finally, we work to experiment. And experimenting, trialing new technologies, new ideas, new processes, and work with our customers to prove those out and ultimately deliver those at scale. That experimentation space for us is in the QAD labs. The QAD labs is our home for innovation, and it's where we partner with our customers to try out new ideas and to solve disruptive problems. Today, the QAD labs is really focusing on one key disruptor, and that is digital transformation. And digital transformation is really being driven by a number of technology trends that are happening in our industry. The first trend is everything's connected. And what do we mean by everything? We mean people, systems, and equipment. If we think about people, it really means social collaboration. It's all of that social media, the collection and sharing of information, all that information sharing across borders. The speed of which that information being shared is really driving efficiencies in communication. And it's really transforming our world and the way that we think. We've introduced chat capabilities and the ability to have activity feeds that really drives improvements around communications at all levels of an organization. Another part of everything's connected is all about connected equipment. And this is being driven by the Internet of Things. And the first part of that is anything as a service. That is adding intelligence to products. By adding intelligence to products, we can understand better how those products are being used. We can even open up new business models where a product can become a subscription commodity instead. We're also seeing an improvement around connected solutions on the shop floor and connected equipment. By having a greater and greater visibility into shop floor equipment, we can understand the current status of it. We can understand the efficiencies of it, the usage, and even predict outages that may happen in the future. With all of this understanding on the shop floor and get better visibility around status and equipment status, it starts to fuel improvements around traceability. If there is a problem somewhere through the manufacturing process. And with that, QAD is introducing a series of manufacturing operation solutions, the first being around our production execution space. This is built on an Internet of Things framework that allows us to provide real-time status between equipment, the production orders and production status, and operator status, providing both real-time information on the floor all the way back to the back-end ERP. Another trend happening in our industry is all around data. In fact, data is becoming the new gold. What's fueling this is really that everything's connected. As I mentioned earlier, whether it's social or equipment or systems, all of those are new sources of driving more and more volumes of data. And inside that data, there's value. In fact, it is becoming the new gold because of that value. It's new database technologies that allow you to query data in sub-second time and retrieve millions of records. It's about richer and more advanced visualizations to make intelligent decisions based on the data. And when it's hard for an individual to make decisions, we now see an emergence of machine learning technologies to help derive answers and make decisions from that data via robots and machines. So it's all about making intelligent decisions, and that's critical to us as we go forward. So to support this, QAD embedded a few years back a data lake technology. The data lake technology allows us to put millions of records into our data lake and retrieve those in real time to our embedded analytics. We use a technology called Cassandra, which is used by Apple, Netflix, Uber, and Microsoft to run their critical global systems. And we've embedded a self-service analytics to be able to drill down and find those decision points from the data. And because it is all seamlessly integrated, we can go straight from the top to the bottom, from the highest level metric to the lowest level transaction. And we achieve all of this leveraging our Logi analytics, the world leader in embedded analytics technology. A final trend in the technology space is effective experiences. And as they say, time is money. Having user efficiency is critical to any business. And it's also critical to driving agility. We don't want people to be doing redundant tasks, or in this world where the workforce is continually changing, that uphill struggle of retraining people is a constant challenge. And as we introduced our adaptive user experience in our product, we thought about this and drove consistency in the product. That consistent look and feel is critical to onboarding people. Or maybe there's just those infrequent capabilities that you don't use every day. How do we educate people? How do we do it just in time? We introduced the Guide Me technology that allows you, within context, to be guided through each step and activity that you need to achieve, right there embedded within the application. And also the flexibility of having something, whether it's on a desktop, tablet, or mobile device. But what happens when those tasks are repeatable and mundane? Those can't be very efficient for a user. Wouldn't it be great if we could automate those tasks? If we could almost have a robot do those tasks for us? Well, that capability is now there. We now have robotic process automation, and this is available to you today. Robotic process automation allows you to automate the tasks that people would do on a daily basis, whether it's talking to a legacy system, or it's maybe you're logging into one of your suppliers' portals, and many different suppliers' portals, and wanting to capture order information and load that into your system. You want to be able to automate those activities, or maybe automate activities in a closing process. We think by introducing robotic process automation, it allows your employees to work on higher value tasks within your organization. And that is critical to the overall agility and efficiency of your business. But we've only covered one part of this story. That was foreseen change. And foreseen change is all about looking to the future and planning ahead. But what about unforeseen change? What will tomorrow bring? Well, unforeseen change is all about adaptability, as I mentioned earlier. It's all about responding to change rapidly. So what are we doing to help our customers in that space? To me, responding to change in the adaptive manufacturing enterprise is being adaptable and leveraging the latest capabilities that we have in the adaptive manufacturing enterprise. Because that's where we're going to be introducing how we solve those new disruptions that are happening in the industry. But staying on the latest version is a real challenge. It has many hurdles that need to be overcome. So our objective is to systematically eliminate every hurdle to allow you to stay current in your application and leverage the very best of what we can provide. The first part of that is all about leveraging new technologies. Technology, as I said, is one of the biggest disruptors. So how do we implement brand new changes in technology? That would obviously disrupt everything that you have. Well, we found a smart way of handling this. We've introduced something called the QAD Enterprise Platform. And the QAD Enterprise Platform is the heart of our applications. It's a foundation that the adaptive manufacturing enterprise is built upon. The great thing about that is we can upgrade the platform and introduce new technologies without having to upgrade the apps that surround it. It's very much like what Apple or Android does when they upgrade their operating systems. The next part of our platform space is all about new business solutions, and it's all about apps. It's building that business functionality. There's new capabilities within our application, and all these apps are built on top of the QAD Enterprise Platform. The great thing about an app is it's completely encapsulated. What it means is I can upgrade the app independent of the whole. So some new requirement comes along. For example, we heard Carter mention before around sustainability. As new sustainability requirements come along, wouldn't it be great to have a sustainability app that could cover the whole system and just upgrade that one piece? Or if I have new internationalization requirements, just to upgrade that individual component. But one thing has always been the greatest challenge to staying current, and that is customizations. I haven't met a single customer that hasn't had to customize a system in some form. And this gives the greatest hurdle to upgrades. Now I hear our competitors turn around and say, customizations are bad. And really, you don't need to customize because our application follows industry best practices. And if you follow industry best practices and don't change our application, you'll be fine. You don't need to customize. But at QAD, we think that's a myth. Because it's great to have best practices in the industry, but what about your practices? The things that make you unique in your industry, the differentiators between you and your competitors. So QAD believes that it's a balance between best practices and your practices. And that's what we've introduced with the QAD Enterprise Platform and the ability to extend apps. In a nice no-code, low-code environment, you can extend any app that either QAD produces or a customers produce in a fantastic user experience environment, leveraging all of the capabilities of the platform, whether it be analytics or mobile, and all of that without impacting your ability to upgrade. Because as those apps underneath upgrade, you're shielded from that in your extensions. The pressure to leverage the latest capabilities is going to be critical for you to survive in this disruptive world. But what does it really mean to keep up to date? It was by Tad Friend, who is a staff writer at The New Yorker. And in there, he quoted that back in 1920, an engineer's half-life of knowledge, that is the time for their knowledge to become obsolete, was 30 years. In 1950, that time reduced to a decade. And now it's 5 years. The even scarier thing is if you're in the software industry and you're a software engineer, it only takes 3 years for your knowledge to become obsolete. And that is why we feel that cloud is a critical element to this space, because it's so hard to keep up with all of that change. It's inevitable you will fall into the death cycle of ERP if you need to keep up. And QAD Cloud really helps you by QAD focusing on keeping up with all that technology so you can focus on keeping up with your business. With the QAD digital transformation platform that forms the basis of an intelligent, agile, and innovative foundation for the adaptive manufacturing enterprise, we're excited to be on a journey with you, our customers, to that goal.
If you're wearing it, if it's telling you time, if you go to your doctor and get your blood pressure checked, we're probably in it. So Steel Flash is a premier contract manufacturer services provider, also more known in EMS or electronic manufacturing services. I don't think there's a place in the world that we don't have a customer. Steel Flash's challenges is really just material availability.
This one's huge. I mean, it's a worldwide shortage. It's component level, it's electronics. On top of that, we've been hit with tariffs.
So Steel Flash today is implementing some advanced technologies around artificial intelligence to streamline our quoting process.
For our quoting staff to go through the vast number of items in our bill of materials is daunting and time-consuming, and artificial intelligence solutions can cut through that.
Where we're headed is real interesting with the artificial intelligence.
A collaborative robot, you can barely touch it and it will stop. You can take it by the wrist, move it to a position and say, teach.
It's really a challenge to develop the know-how and skills to keep it up with all the new technologies. And it's refreshing to have a technology partner like QAD that brings that expertise to the table.
Today, the factory is moving to manufacturing 4.0.
We're connecting our shop floor equipment, leveraging the data across all of our equipment that is similar in each of the factories worldwide, automating that and increasing our efficiency, increasing our accuracy and the quality.
You will have an autonomous factory that starts to operate very efficient without a lot of overhead.
So we need a technology platform that delivers the future to a Steel Flash now, but also positions us for the next technology in the future.
With QAD, it's their ability to look forward with you even though you may not have it in full play. So the advanced technologies for us is a key proponent of our 3 to 5 year plan that we are highly embedded in.
We are a Steel Flash.
And with QAD,
we are building the effective enterprise.
Imagine working smarter, saving time, increasing productivity, and doing it all at zero cost of ownership. How many times have you thought, I wish there were more dashboards. Why can't my spreadsheets do that? Or, I thought it came with those preloaded in my ERP software. With eNoah BI Insights, catering to the small to mid-market customer, we can provide you with an unlimited number of dashboard requests. Utilizing predictive analytics, we are enabling the demand beyond what's offered out of the box of traditional ERP. Catering to the enterprise customer, we're utilizing business intelligence with embedded functionality of eNoah's Data Libre. Through BI, smart monitoring, and analytics, we've created a proprietary 3D view with a proactive response to business issues. We engage with prospective customers. We ensure proper fit. We agree on priorities and generate a mutual sequence of events by offering an easy onboarding implementation solution. By accelerating the results, we're following the mantra of being rapid, agile, and effective through our easy onboarding methodology. Let's see how we can help you increase user count with fewer headcount and offer a zero cost of ownership. Time is money. Every customer looks for the return on their investment. No one wants to give up control, and in this instance, size really doesn't matter. We're speeding up implementation with certified QAD trained customer business processes. We'll offer virtual employees, allowing you to free up customer resource for intended jobs and ERP tasks. Client never gives up control. In fact, you pick and choose the task at a reduced cost of generally on average 50% less per employee than you're spending on a North American employee. Activity-based outsourcing instead of process-based, and will consume minimum management time to ensure business continuity. Client size and scale immaterial. We do have customers like GE and Ford that have successfully leveraged this eNoah business model. We also have hundreds of clients, less than 50 users, that have greatly benefited and done so over a decade. We'll reduce and eliminate the need for customizations and enhancements because we've used this as a proven model. From ERP software to professional services, we help you increase productivity, save time, and positively affect your bottom line. So the question is, what can eNoah do for you? It was a pleasure spending part of our day with you. Again, I'm Glenn Julia, Sales Director, Strategic Alliance North America for eNoah, and I sincerely thank you for your time and attention. We would now like to open the call to any questions you may have.